Peace be upon you and welcome to the annual Truth Promoters Ashura program for this year 2025, which corresponds to the lunar year 1447. We welcome you to a program the likes of which we are sure you have never experienced before. A Muharram program with substance, with culture, with emotion, and entirely in English. Tonight is the 9th of Muharram. We would like to start the program this evening with a recitation from the Quran in English. The verses being recited will be displayed on the screen during the recitation, but for the benefit of those who are listening, they are: number 1, Surah Al-Tawbah, the chapter of the repentance, 9th chapter of the Quran, verse 1105. Number 2, Surah Qaf, the chapter of the letter Qaf, 50th chapter of the Quran, verse 16. Number 3, Surah Al-Rum, the chapter of the Romans, 30th chapter of the Quran, verses 4 to 5. Number 4, Surah al-Ahzab, the chapter of the Confederates, 33rd chapter of the Quran, verse 23. And number 5, Ziyarat Ashura. This segment will be available on the Islamic Digest, located at www.islamicdigest.org.
In the name of God, the Merciful, the especially merciful.
Say, act. God will see your actions, as will His Messenger and the believers, and you will be returned to the knower of the unseen and the seen, and He will inform you of all that you used to do. We created the human being, and we know the whispers of their soul. We are closer to them than their jugular vein. Within a few years, the outcome belongs to God, both before and after, and on that day the believers will rejoice at God's victory. He gives victory to whomever He wills, and He is the mighty, the merciful. Among the believers are those who stayed true to the promise they made to God. Some have fulfilled their pledge, while others still await. Yet they have never changed their commitment in the least. Peace be upon the companions of Husayn.
The next part of our program is a short set of poetic couplets. These have been inspired by Quranic verses related to: number 1, the divine majesty of God; number 2, Ahlul Bayt, or the holy household of the Prophet Muhammad; number 3, verses on clarification, also known as Tabyeen, the primary subject of our sessions this Muharram; and number 4, a line from one of the various visitation prayers, also known as Ziyarat, to Imam Husayn and the Ahlul Bayt. The verses that inspired the couplets for today are: number 1, Surah Al-Tawbah, the chapter of the repentance, 9th chapter of the Quran, verse 1105. Number 2, Surah Qaf, the chapter of the letter Qaf, 50th chapter of the Quran, verse 16. Number 3, Surah Al-Rum, the chapter of the Romans, 30th chapter of the Quran, verses 4 to 5. Number 4, Surah Al-Ahzab, the chapter of the Confederates, 33rd chapter of the Quran, verse 23. And number 5, Ziyarat Ashura. This segment will be available on the Islamic Digest, located at www.islamicdigest.org.
In the name of the one who counts every tear that falls in the dark. He is the witness of hidden vows, the listener to trembling hearts in prayer. He lit the night with voices stronger than armies, with love that outshone fear. He asked, and they stayed. Not for a reward, but because truth had found its voice. Peace be upon the loyal ones who choose death over doubt, and sang beneath the swords.
Now we will have our main lecture for this evening. Our series this year is about Tabyeen, or the struggle for clarification. The subject for this, the 9th session in this series, is the response to clarification. This segment will be available on the Reflections, located at www.reflections313.com.
So I think it's good we start with Surah Al-Fatiha. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen, ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, maliki yawmiddin, iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in, ihdinas siratal mustaqim, siratal ladhina an'amta alayhim ghayril maghdubi alayhim waladdallin. Sadaqallahu al-aliyyul azim. Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim, alhamdulillahi rabbil alameen, wa sallallahu ala sayyidina Muhammad wa ala ali baytihi at-tayyibin at-tahirin, wa la'anallahu ala a'da'ihim ajma'in min al-awwalin wal-akhirin. Ameen ya rabbil alameen. السلام عليك يا أبا عبد الله وعلى الأرواح التي حلت بفنائك. عليكم منا جميعا سلام الله أبدا ما بقيت وبقي الليل والنهار، ولا جعله الله آخر الأحد منا لزيارتكم. السلام على الحسين وعلى علي بن الحسين وعلى أولاد الحسين وعلى أصحاب الحسين. Peace be upon you, O Aba Abdullah, and upon the souls who have gathered in your courtyard. Upon you, from us all, is the peace of God forever, for as long as we remain and as long as night and day endure. And may God never make this our last pledge to visit you. Peace be upon Husayn, and upon Ali, the son of Husayn, and upon the children of Husayn, and upon the companions of Husayn. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. So this is the 9th in our series of sessions for the nights of Ashura and Arba'een on the subject of Tabyeen or clarification. As with all of our other sessions, such as those on patience, the lantern of the path, or the art of supplication, it is strongly recommended that anyone consuming this, at the very least, review the previous sessions prior to consuming this one. This is because of the nature of the discussion, the manner of discourse really requires that each part build upon the ones that came before, so as to avoid confusion, misunderstanding, and in fact any invalid assumptions that can lead to what would be the antithesis of tabyeen or clarification. While we do have a recap for each session, the recap is highly summarized, and to get the full nuance, the previous sessions will need to be consumed, studied, and reflected upon. Nevertheless, if I can get a salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad, we can have the recap.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
So the previous session was titled Subjects in Need of Clarification. And in our previous session, we examined the core question: what subjects require clarification today? We established that tabyeen or clarification is not a generic or timeless act. It is deeply contextual. The worth of religious speech is measured not only by its truth, but by its timeliness, relevance, and courage in confronting the ideological distortions of the era. We explored how the enemies of Islam do not waste energy on peripheral issues. They strike at the roots, the foundations of identity, authority, governance, and divine guidance. Hence, clarification must defend what is under attack: wilaya, imama, Islamic governance, and the Quranic worldview, and the relationship between religion and power. We also address the danger of irrelevant speech, discourse that soothes the audience but fails to challenge falsehood. We uncovered the politics of silence, where fear, social pressure, and institutional caution lead to the displacement of vital truths by safe topics. Through Quranic verses and the wisdom of Ahlul Bayt, peace and blessings be upon them, we saw that the scholar who withholds clarification or redirects away from it, redirects it away from its urgent target, is not neutral. He is in fact negligent. Clarification is not about filling time or maintaining status. It is a divinely mandated intervention, an unveiling of the truth when truth is hidden, and a defense of truth, haq, when it is distorted. But clarification alone is not the end. Once truth has been clarified, another question emerges, one even more personal, even more decisive. How do we respond to the truth once it has been clarified? And that is the subject of today's session. Please give me a salawat and we move on.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
صل على محمد وآل محمد.
So the truth demands a response. Clarification is not the end of the journey. It is the beginning of accountability. To clarify is to lift the veil, to present the truth plainly and expose falsehood for what it is. But once the truth is known, a weight falls upon the shoulders of the one who has heard it. No soul, having received tabyeen, remains neutral. Every soul, knowingly or unknowingly, becomes one who either accepts, defers, manipulates, or rejects. In the Quran, the descent of clear guidance is always paired with a demand for response. For example, in Quran, Surah An-Nisa, the chapter of the women, 4th chapter of the Quran, verse 165, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, so that mankind may have no argument against God after the messengers have come. Revelation removes the excuse of ignorance. Clarification removes the cloak of ambiguity. What remains is a choice. And with that choice, a test. Imam Ali, peace and blessings be upon him, expressed this truth in a profound and often overlooked line. And again, this is from Nahj Balagha. And as with all of these sessions, the write-up contains all of the citations and detailed references. I invite everyone to examine it and study it. So Imam Ali has expressed this truth in a very profound and, as I've said, often overlooked line, where he says, "Upon you is the task of delivery. Upon them is the duty to submit. The one who hears cannot return to blindness. The one who sees cannot claim not to know. From the moment of Tabyeen, a decision is required, and silence itself becomes a form of response." The Quran reminds us of those who responded with passive recognition but failed to act. In Quran, in Surah An-Naml, the chapter of the ant, 27th chapter of the Quran, verse number 14, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, "They denied it while their souls were convinced of it." They recognized the truth, but they still rejected it. And in this, the Quran identifies a deep psychological disease, the severance of recognition from action, of knowledge from surrender. In the age of ideological sedition, this disease is widespread. Many accept the truth in theory. They admire those who clarify it. They nod in approval. But when the moment comes to align their lives, their allegiances, and/or their actions with what they now know, they hesitate, they defer, or they retreat. This is not neutrality. Rather, this is evasion. Imam Ali, peace and blessings be upon him, warns of this pattern in the believer. And this is from Ghurur al-Hikam. He has not truly recognized God, the one who disobeys him. Recognition that does not lead to obedience is not real recognition. It is a kind of internal hypocrisy, one that paralyzes the soul while convincing it that it has fulfilled its duty. Therefore, the purpose of Tabyeen is not merely to inform, but to demand a stand. Every heart that receives clarity must then reveal itself. Will it follow the truth? Will it hesitate in fear? Or will it turn away in arrogance? The criterion of judgment shifts after clarification. Before, the excuse of ignorance might have been accepted. After, only submission or resistance remains. And so we see, the one who receives Tabyeen must respond. And in that response lies their path to loyalty or betrayal, to salvation or eternal regret. So let us now look at the categories of response. Please give me a salawat.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
So once the truth has been clarified, responses begin to diverge. Some are immediate and sincere. Others are slow, strategic, or defiant. But every response reveals the state of the heart and determines whether the light of Tabyeen becomes a path to salvation or a witness against the soul. Broadly speaking, there are 4 categories of response to clarification. Each has been described in the Quran and in the traditions of the Ahlul Bayt, peace and blessings be upon them. And each reflects a different spiritual, psychological, and ideological posture towards the truth. So the first one is those who submit and obey. This is the ideal. When truth is clarified, they do not wait for the crowd to move. They do not demand reassurance, nor do they seek guarantees of safety or popularity. They submit because they recognize the source. In the Quran, in Surah An-Nur, the chapter of the light, 24th chapter of the Quran, verse number 51, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, the only statement of the believers when they are called to God and His Messenger to judge between them is that they say, we hear and we obey. Their response is marked by trust, action, and wilayah. They become defenders of truth, not just admirers of it. These are the companions of prophets, the Ansar, helpers of Imams, and the flag bearers of every movement of truth or every movement of haqq. The second category is those who reject and resist. These are the deniers, those who see the truth and openly oppose it, sometimes out of arrogance, sometimes for worldly gain, and often because the truth threatens their status or their ideology. Pharaoh saw the signs of Moses, yet in Quran we are told, in Surah An-Naml, the chapter of the ant, 27th chapter of the Quran, verse 14, Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, they denied it, though their souls were convinced of it. Imam Sadiq, peace and blessings be upon him, describes such people as being worse than the ignorant. He says, one who opposes the truth knowingly is more misguided than the ignorant. These are not merely misguided, they are active forces of misguidance. The third type, those who delay or defer. This category includes those who acknowledge the truth but hesitate to act. They are not deniers, but they are not followers either. They fear the cost. They wait for the right time. They want safety, consensus, or more signs before they move. The children of Israel were shown the truth by Musa, but responded. This is in Quran, Surah Al-Ma'idah, the chapter of the table spread, 5th chapter of the Quran, verse number 24. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, and this is what the children of Israel said to Moses, you and your Lord go and fight. We will stay here sitting. They did not deny the mission. They simply declined to join it. And in doing so, they betrayed it. This is the response of delay, which often guides itself as prudence or neutrality. But in truth, it is a refusal to bear the burden of truth once it has become clear. And the fourth group are those who remain silent, yet internally know. This is perhaps the most dangerous group of all. These are the ones who understand the truth. They even speak highly of it, but they take no step towards implementing it. They sit in the middle ground. They offer praise for the message, but distance from the movement. Imam Sadiq, peace and blessings be upon him, lamented such people in Dua al-Istiqafa, the supplication of awakening. He says, O God, make me among those whose hearts awaken at your remembrance and who do not feel secure from your plan. These are the silent consenters. They applaud those who clarify, but distance themselves from the implications. They fear what may happen if they take the side of truth too openly. And in doing so, they leave the clarifiers isolated and the distorters emboldened. In Ziyarat al-Nahiyya al-Muqaddasa, we are reminded, O God, exclude from your mercy the people who heard of this and were content with it. This group is not absolved by their silence. Their inaction is a betrayal, not only of the truth, but of the responsibility that comes with recognizing it. Each of these four responses continues to exist today. They exist in our communities. They exist within ourselves. And it is only through sincere self-vigilance and wilaya, loyal alignment, that we can ensure we are among the first and not the last. But the worst response is passive agreement. One of the most dangerous responses to clarification is not open denial, nor is it hostile rejection. It is in fact passive agreement, the silent nod of approval that is never followed by action. It is the expression of admiration for truth without any willingness to align oneself with it, without any willingness to support it or defend it. This is the response of those who listen to Tabyeen, affirm it in theory, praise the one who delivered it, but then return to their lives unchanged. They have understood, but they refuse to be moved. They have seen, but they refuse to walk. In the eyes of the divine, this response is not neutral. Rather, it is treachery masked by politeness. It is the very essence of what the Quran condemns when it says, and this is Surah Al-Baqarah, the chapter of the cow, second chapter of the Quran, verse 204. It's a very important verse. And among the people is he whose speech pleases you in worldly life, and he even calls God to witness as to what is in his heart. Yet he is the fiercest of opponents. These individuals claim sincerity. They recite slogans. But when the moment of decision comes, when loyalty demands sacrifice, or when truth becomes unpopular, they remain on the sidelines. And worse, they believe their theoretical agreement is enough to absolve them. Imam Ali, peace and blessings be upon him, warned of this very behavior. He said, "Do not be of those who hope for the hereafter without any action, and delay repentance due to false expectations. The one who passively agrees to Tabyeen, but does not rise to serve it, is deceived by his own conscience. He mistakes recognition for commitment and praise for participation. But Islam was never built by spectators. When said Zainab, peace and blessings be upon her, stood in the court of Yazid and delivered the clearest clarification of truth of Haqq, there were many in that audience who recognized her truth. Some wept, some turned their faces, but how many stood with her? How many left the court and joined the path of resistance? Very few. This is why passive agreement is more corrosive than open rejection. The rejecter is an open enemy. He reveals himself. But the passive approver cloaks his betrayal in smiles, in praise and neutrality. He weakens the camp of truth from within. The Ahlul Bayt, peace and blessings be upon them, suffered not only at the hands of their enemies, but from the abandonment of those who claimed to love them but refused to rise for them. Again, in Ziyarat Nahiyah al-Muqaddasa, we pray that God exclude from his mercy not only the killers of Imam Husayn, peace and blessings be upon him, but also those who were pleased with the crime and remained silent. In Ziyarat Nahiyah, we say, "O God, exclude from your mercy the people who heard of this and were content with it." This line is a mirror to our own hearts. When clarification reaches us, when the truth is laid bare, will we simply agree, or will we join the struggle it demands? The tragedy is that many who nod in approval never speak in defense. They do not oppose, but they do not assist. They excuse their silence with claims of diplomacy, family obligations, or personal limitations. But in the court of God, this is not discretion. It is in fact desertion. And in this sense, they are worse than the open rejecter. For at least the open rejecter is an open enemy who declares his position. The passive betrayer pretends to stand with the truth, and by doing so disarms it from within. Please give me a salawat and we move to the ideal response, which is wilaya and obedience.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد.
The correct response to tabyeen, or clarification, is not mere agreement, admiration, or discussion. It is wilaya. That is, not only belief in the truth, but conscious, loyal alignment with its bearers, and full obedience to what has been clarified. Wilaya is not a concept of affection. It is a structure of commitment. It means that once the truth is known, one joins its side intellectually, emotionally, socially, and politically. One defends it, lives by it, dies for it if necessary. The Quran describes this standard with unwavering clarity. In Quran, Surah Al-Ma'idah, the chapter of the table spread, 5th chapter of the Quran, verse 55. Your only guardians are God, His Messenger, and those who believe. The verse is not metaphorical. It defines the framework of loyalty. The believer's response to clarified truth is to enter into the bond of wilaya, to disavow all opposing forces, and to follow the leadership of those appointed by God. Imam al-Baqir, peace and blessings be upon him, summarized this perfectly. Faith is not accepted without action. Action is not accepted without intention. And intention is not accepted unless it conforms to the Sunnah. This means that the inner recognition of truth must manifest action, and that action must conform to the path set by the Prophet and the Imams, the path of resistance, of justice, of spirituality, and political clarity. In every age, those who embody this ideal were few, but decisive. They were not content with merely knowing. They stood with the clarified truth, even when it cost them their social standing, their comfort, or their lives. The martyrs of Karbala did not simply believe in Imam Husayn, peace and blessings be upon him. They followed him. They aligned themselves with his movement. They fought and fell so that the clarification he embodied would reach us without distortion. And again, in Ziyarat Nahiya al-Muqaddasa, we are taught to declare, so make me firm upon your wilaya, and make me of those who take up your cause, under the leadership of the rightly guided Imam, the manifest one who speaks with truth. This is the response the Ahlul Bayt, peace and blessings be upon them, sought. Not passive admiration, not abstract belief, but firmness in wilaya, and action under leadership. To respond rightly to clarification is to join the ranks of those who clarify, to inherit their mission, to guard the truth as they did, and to say, not with the tongue only, but with the entire soul, to say, Labbaik, I am here at your call, at your service. Please give me a salawat and we move on to the conclusion.
اللهم صل على محمد.
So, clarification is the unveiling of truth, but it is the response to that truth that defines the soul. Some turn away from it, some remain still, some betray it with silence, and a few, the chosen few, respond with wilaya, with unwavering loyalty, obedient action, and sacrificial commitment. These are the inheritors of the prophets, the allies of the Imams, and the true partisans of truth, of haqq. But the journey does not end there. For even those who recognize the truth, who embrace it and align with it are still not immune from deviation. Recognition is not preservation. Loyalty today does not guarantee loyalty tomorrow. The path of truth is long, and the trials are many. There are storms that shake even the firmest of hearts, whispers that distort even the clearest of insight, and tribulations that test even the most sincere allegiance. This is why the Quran warns, and this is from Surah Al-A'raf, the chapter of the heights, 7th chapter of the Quran, verse 99. Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, He says, "Do they feel secure from the plan of God? But none feels secure from the plan of God except the losers." To respond rightly to clarification is essential, but to remain steadfast after responding is even harder. History is filled with those who saw, who stood, and who later slipped. This is the test that awaits the clarified and Ashura. We will unfold. What are the spiritual and ideological betrayal? Clarification begins the journey. Response chooses the side, but only sabr, steadfastness, delivers the soul to victory. Please give me a salawat ala Muhammad wa ala Muhammad, and we move on to the supplication eulogy, which tonight is the smallest shaheed, or the smallest martyr.
اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وأجل.
In His name, the Lord of the martyrs and the truthful. O God, send your blessings upon Muhammad and the family of Muhammad. O God, what sin had he committed? What sword had he raised? What army had he led? He had not yet learnt to walk. He had not yet spoken his first word. He had only ever cried for milk, for water, for his father's arms. Ali al-Asghar, the child who died in sajda in his father's arms. O my Lord, when words failed, Hussein brought the baby forward, not a sword, not a banner, but a 6-month-old infant. He stood before the enemy and said, "If I have wronged you, give him every life." Flight. How did he moved not, he fought not, yet they feared his innocence more than they feared the sword of Abbas. And as the blood flowed, Hussein caught it in his arms, in his hands. He looked to the heavens, but even the skies wept. And then he dug a grave with the hilt of his sword and buried the baby with his own hands, alone. O my Imam, what father buries his son in the middle of a battlefield with no shroud, with no cradle, with no stone? What did your sister Zainab feel when you returned with no child in your arms? What lullaby did the mothers sing in the camp after Ali al-Asghar was gone? O Mahdi, you who carry the blood of Hussein in your veins, will you not avenge the arrow that pierced the throat of a child? Will you not lift his name as a banner against tyranny? Let us carry this grief as a vow. Let us raise our children to love Ali al-Asghar. Let us never forget the child who died without a name, but whose martyrdom sealed the sky. O God, make us among the intercessors for this infant, and among those who weep for him night and day. and grant us a heart like the broken father's, and a tear like the slaughtered's mother. Tonight we hold no sword, we whisper no curse, we simply weep. For the baby who never drank, for the father who dug a grave with trembling hands, for the grief that silenced the world. Tonight we say, O Ali al-Asghar, we will not forget. Your blood is written across the sky. Your name is written in our prayers. وآخر الدعوان أن الحمد لله رب العالمين والسلام عليكم ورحمة الله وبركاته.
We now move to the eulogy or Maqtal segment of our program, where we remember the epic of Ashura and the stand of Imam Husayn as well as his family and companions. A Maqtal is essentially a eulogy or remembering of the epic of Ashura, so as to learn from it, but also to develop an emotional connection to Imam Husayn. This is also designed to educate us and to embed the message of Imam Husayn into our hearts. Mourning and weeping is normal during the Maqtal, and indeed, it is something blessed. For when a person listens to and reflects on the tragedy that befell, not just Imam Husayn, but rather that befell Islam, a mere 50 years after the passing of the Prophet Muhammad, peace and blessings be upon him and his family, truly it is heartbreaking. The Maqtal this evening will be the Martyrdom of Ali al-Asghar. This segment will be available on The Martyr, located at www.themartyr.net.
Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Alhamdulillah Rabbil Alameen. Sallallahu ala Sayyidina Muhammad wa ala ahli baytihi at-tayyibin at-tahirin al-ma'sumin. Allahumma salli ala Muhammad wa ali Muhammad wa ajil farajahum. The martyrdom of Abdullah al-Razi, popularly known as Ali al-Asghar alayhi salam, is possibly one of the most horrific events to occur during the whole epic of Ashura and Karbala. The crime of child or baby killing is considered particularly abhorrent in the eyes of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and references have been made to this crime in the Holy Quran. At the time of the birth of Prophet Musa alayhi salam, Pharaoh wiped out an entire generation of Israelite boys in order to prevent Musa from being born. Surah Qasas 28 verse 4. He, Pharaoh, slaughtered their sons and let their women live. Surely he was one of the mischief makers. In another reference, we hear about the condition of female infants born in pre-Islamic Arabia. It was common practice for fathers to bury their newborn baby daughters alive, as they were considered to have no value. Surah Tabyeen 81, verses 7 and 8. And when the female infant buried alive is asked, for what sin was she killed? In the modern era, child killing has become an industry with nearly 10 million abortions occurring every year. We see that the brutal Zionist entity has no respect or compassion towards children or babies, with over 20,000 children killed in the current campaign against Gaza, not to mention those killed in Lebanon, Yemen, and recently in the Islamic Republic of Iran. Also, the terrorist groups like ISIS or Daesh have carried out massacres of thousands of children. The pure blood of the infant Ali Asghar alayhi salam is the representation of all these oppressed and wronged children throughout history. Hazrat Ali Asghar alayhi salam was born in early Rajab 60 AH and was only a few days old when he left Medina along with his father Imam Husayn alayhi salam, his family members and companions. His mother was Rabab bint Imra al-Qais, who was daughter of a prominent Syrian Christian man who converted to Islam during the time of the second Caliph. Before leaving Medina, Fatima Sughra, his sister, who was remaining behind due to illness, takes hold of her baby brother and wishes to keep him with her. All of the ladies come to try and separate the little baby from his sister, even the baby's mother, but he would not leave his sister. Finally, Imam Husayn alayhi salam came and whispered some words in the ear of al-Asghar, and he immediately jumped into the arms of his father. What was said is not mentioned. However, it is clear without the sacrifice of al-Asghar alayhi salam, the mission of Imam Husayn alayhi salam would not have had the same impact. Lady Rabab came to her husband and lamented the fact that her children were too small and would not be able to fight in defense of Islam. Imam Husayn alayhi salam reassures her and tells her, "No, Rabab, do not fear. Your children will do the greatest jihad and be of the greatest service to Islam." On the day of Ashura, all of the men and youths from the camp of Imam Husayn alayhi salam have been martyred. Only himself and his son Imam Sajjad alayhi salam, who was too ill to fight, remained. Imam Husayn alayhi salam goes outside of his tent and lets out a cry. "Is there anyone to help us? Is there anyone who will hear our cries?" Imam Husayn alayhi salam raised his voice. He could hear a commotion coming from inside the tent and the sound of a baby crying. Imam Husayn alayhi salam saw the ladies standing around and weeping inside the tent. Imam is told that when he raised his cry from outside the tent, his infant son al-Asghar began to cry and threw himself from his cradle. Al-Asghar had been thirsty for several days, and his mother's breast milk had dried up due to lack of nutrition. Imam Husayn alayhi salam tells Rabab to get al-Asghar ready so that he can take him in front of the enemy. Perhaps they would have some mercy on the small baby. Rabab dresses al-Asghar in his best clothes and beautifies the baby so that the enemies have some mercy for him. Before she gives him over to Imam Husayn alayhi salam, she tells him, "O Asghar, I know you are too small to pick up a sword and go up and fight, but if the enemy tries and kills your father, you must protect him." Imam Husayn alayhi salam takes the baby under his cloak and heads towards the battlefield. The enemy forces see him and believe he is carrying the Quran and wishes to make a truce. Imam Husayn alayhi salam opens his cloak and holds up the thirsty baby so the enemy army could see him. Addressing the enemies, he then says, "O Shia of Abu Sufyan, even if you have no religion, at least be free men. If you show no mercy to me, at least have mercy on this thirsty child." Then turning towards his thirsty infant son, he says, "O my son Asghar, show these people how thirsty you are." As al-Asghar begins moving his tongue across his lips, the enemies could see the dryness of his mouth. There was a disturbance in the enemy ranks, especially amongst some who had small children. Some of them were heard weeping. Others were saying they should give water to the baby. Umar ibn Sa'd feared a potential mutiny in his army and turns to his main archer, Karbala, and tells him, "Cut off the tongue of Hussein." Karbala takes an arrow from his bag and fires it. However, it falls to the ground. Karbala tries to launch a second one, but this one also falls to the ground. Umar ibn Sa'd is agitated and begins to scold Karbala. "Karbala, what's wrong with you? Why don't you shoot the arrow? Karbala replies, when I went to shoot the arrows, I could see a lady dressed fully in black in my eye line, scolding me. Oh, Karbala, why do you want to kill my baby? What harm has he done to you? Finally, Karbala reaches into his bag and removes a three-headed arrow, the type normally used for hunting large prey such as camels. Karbala sees the whiteness coming from the neck of the baby and takes aim. He sends the arrow high into the sky. When the arrow approaches near to where Imam Husayn alayhi salam is standing, his baby son leaps forward from his father's arms, taking a direct hit from the arrow and piercing his neck from ear to ear. The blood begins gushing forth from the neck of al-Asghar. Imam Husayn alayhi salam, seeing the blood gushing, tries to direct it towards the sky. He hears a voice from the heavens. O Husayn, if one drop of this innocent blood reaches the sky, then there will never be any rain and the earth would become barren. Imam Husayn then tries to direct the blood towards the ground and he hears a voice. O Husayn, if one drop of this innocent blood falls on the ground, the earth would become barren and nothing would grow from it. Finally, he directs the blood of al-Asghar towards his face and calls out to his grandfather, the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, O Messenger of Allah, I shall return to you in this condition. Finally, Imam Husayn alayhi salam takes the body of the infant al-Asghar and begins moving it towards the tent. However, he was hesitant to show the condition of the baby to the mother, Rabab. So he moved backwards and forwards, reciting the following line. Verily, we are from Allah, and unto Him shall we return. I am pleased with His decree and submit to His order. Imam Husayn alayhi salam finally enters the tent with the body of al-Asghar hidden under his cloak. He lifts the cloak slowly, and Rabab sees the body of her slain infant son. She cries out, O Asghar, do they really slaughter small babies like animals? Had I known this, I would have dressed you in even better clothing and made you look even more beautiful. A small grave is dug by the side of the tent where the body of al-Asghar is placed. However, later on, the body is exhumed by Shimmer, who severs the head and places it on a spear alongside the other martyrs. Peace be upon you, the suckling young one. Peace be upon the bodies that were hung after being killed. Peace be upon the nearest of the Prophet's progeny. Peace be upon the corpses that were abandoned in the desert. وَسَيَعْلَمُ الَّذِينَ ظَلَمُوا أَيَّ مُنْقَلَبٍ يَنْقَلِبُونَ إِنَّا لِلَّهِ وَإِنَّا إِلَيْهِ رَاجِعُونَ صلوات على محمد وآل محمد اللهم صل على محمد وآل محمد وأجل فرجهم.
Now we will have lamentations, commonly known as Noha or Latmiyat in Muslim cultures. These again are in English. These are poetry put to a tune, a type of song, a lamentation. These can be listened to with reflection and thought, and as per the cultural norm within most Muslim cultures and societies, there is the gentle beating of the chest in mourning as the lamentation proceeds. This beating of the chest is known as matam. It should be noted that this is not something that should draw blood or cause harm. Rather, it is a manifestation of grief on the part of the listener as they are moved by the words of poetry. The lamentations for this evening are named The Light of the Oppressed, and the second one, The Spirit of Husayn. This segment will be available on Shia Sounds, located at www.shiasounds.com.
Where are you, my dear one? Where are you, my sweet son? Where is the one raised so well, who saved our very souls from hell? Our hearts ache and our tears swell. The light of the oppressed, the hope of the distressed. Hussein, 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 Hussein. The light of the oppressed, the hope of the distressed. Hussein, 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 Hussein. From mighty to so small, the gentle would all fall. No kindly heart, no pleasant face, no soft caress, no warm embrace, no tender word used in that place. From mighty to so small, the gentle would all fall. No kindly heart, no pleasant face, no soft caress, no warm embrace, no tender word used in that place. The light of the oppressed, the hope of the distressed. Hussein, 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 Hussein. Where was our Muhammad? In their hearts naught was sacred. Where was the love of Mustafa? Who didn't they kill at Karbala? Husseins of me, said Rasulullah. Where was our Muhammad? In their hearts naught was sacred. Where was the love of Mustafa? Who didn't they kill at Karbala? Husseins of me, said Rasulullah. The light of the oppressed, the hope of the distressed. Hussein, 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 Hussein. Yazid had a vile plan to take the soul of every man, to murder and humiliate, to fight against the Ahlul Bayt. Yet for him was a dreadful fate. Yazid had a vile plan to take the soul of every man, to murder and humiliate, to fight against the Ahlul Bayt. Yet for him was a dreadful fate. The light of the oppressed, the hope of the distressed. Hussein, 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 Hussein. The light of the oppressed, the hope of the distressed. Hussein, 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 Hussein. The babe al-Asghar in the arms of his mother, his tiny heart began to fail. His mother's face turned cold and pale. Then she began to weep and wail. The babe al-Asghar in the arms of his mother, his tiny heart began to fail. His mother's face turned cold and pale. Then she began to weep and wail. the light of the oppressed, the hope of the distressed. Hussein, 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 Hussein. Hussein took his weak son and showed him to everyone. An arrow flew and all was lost. A drop of blood fell in the dust. No reason there for such a cause. Hussein took his weak son, showed him to everyone. An arrow flew and all was lost. A drop of blood fell in the dust. No reason there for such a cause. The light of the oppressed, the hope of the distressed. Hussein, 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 Hussein. The light of the oppressed, the hope of the distressed. Hussein, 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 Hussein. They tortured and starved them, left them thirsty and broken. They tore the veils from every face. They dragged them to a distant place. Yet victory came from Allah's grace. They tortured and starved them, left them thirsty and broken. They tore the veils from every face. They dragged them to a distant place. Yet victory came from Allah's grace. The light of the oppressed, the hope of the distressed. Hussein, 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 Hussein. Eternity his name preserve, high esteem for him reserve. For every martyr played his part, with tearful eyes and heaving heart. From Karbala we now depart. Eternity his name preserve, high esteem for him reserved. For every martyr played his part, with tearful eyes and heaving heart. From Karbala we now depart. The light of the oppressed, the hope of the distressed. Hussein, 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 Hussein. The dust of Karbala, the blood of Ashura, the furnace of that lonely plain ignites the souls bereft in pain. The lovers, how they rise again. The dust of Karbala, the blood of Ashura, the furnace of that lonely plain ignites the souls bereft in pain. The lovers, how they rise again. The light of the oppressed, the hope of the distressed. Hussein, 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 Hussein. From al-Aqsa unto Baqi, the truth will out and set all free. No hiding place for enemies. Hussein's revenge a certainty. The caravan of victory. From al-Aqsa unto Baqi, the truth will out and set all free. No hiding place for enemies. Hussein's revenge a certainty. The caravan of victory. The light of the oppressed, the hope of the distressed. Hussein, 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 Hussein. The light of the oppressed, the hope of the distressed. Hussein, 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 Hussein. To clarify the holy truth, to stand before the godly proof. A true Tawheed society will raise the flag of piety, the banner of Imam Mahdi. To clarify the holy truth, to stand before the godly proof. A true Tawheed society will raise the flag of piety, the banner of Imam Mahdi. The light of the oppressed, the hope of the distressed. Hussein, 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 Hussein. The light of the oppressed, the hope of the distressed. Hussein, 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 Hussein. The light of the oppressed, the hope of the distressed. Hussein, 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 Hussein. Take us to our graves, take us as Shahid, take us as your slaves. Spirit of Hussein, take us to our graves, take us as Shahid, take us as your slaves. Oh, lonely hearts, broken by the pain. Oh, every tear calls out Hussein's name. Every single kiss reminds us of Hussein's lips. Every tortured face holds a sacred place. Every tortured face holds a sacred place. Spirit of Hussein, take us into our graves, take us as Shahid, take us as your slaves. Oh, tearful ones, can you see the babe? Can you see his smile, witness for a while? Can you see your sons born unto your wives? Can you hear their cries, see tears in their eyes? Can you imagine them, never seeing them again? This was a Husayn, al-Asghar was his pain. This was Husayn, al-Asghar was his pain. Spirit of Husayn, take us into our graves. Take us as Shaheed, take us as your slaves. Oh, our sweet Abbas, where are your sacred hands? Where are your shining eyes plundered upon the sands? Where is your valiant heart? Where is your sword so sharp to quench the thirst of the pure? Courageous you surely were. To quench the thirst of the pure, courageous you surely were. Spirit of Husayn, take us to our graves. Take us as Shaheed, take us as your slaves. Oh, daughter of Haydar, your sweetheart bears the scars. Oh, beloved of Maqtal, you felt their hate so cruel. Oh, sisters in Islam, imagine yourselves in Sham. Imagine the pain and hurt displayed for that cursed dirt from the gaze of man you guard. Though the way is always hard, you're the heirs of sweet Zainab, Mujahid for hijab. You're the heirs of sweet Zainab, Mujahid for hijab. Spirit of Husayn, take us to our graves. Take us as Shaheed, take us as your slaves. Spirit of Husayn, take us to our graves. Take us as Shaheed, take us as your slaves. From Ashura to Tabyeen, our hearts ache for Husayn. The suffering of Rabab, of Zainab and Sajjad. The blood flows through our veins, it's burning and full of shame. Our love of Rasulullah drags us to Karbala. Yet on which side would we stand? Would our blood fall on the sand? Yet on which side would we stand? Would our blood fall on the sand? Spirit of Husayn, take us to our graves. Take us as Shaheed, take us as your slaves. Spirit of Husayn, take us to our graves. Take us as Shaheed, take us as your slaves. The call of our Husayn echoes from age to age. Let's die like sweet Abbas and give all for Allah's Nasr. Let our bodies be burnt and torn. Our jihad is not forlorn. Look well through our tearful eyes. Search well and we'll realize that Husayn surely survived in revolution. He's alive. That Husayn surely survived in revolution. He's alive. Spirit of Husayn, take us to our graves. take us as Shahid, take us as your slaves. The years have passed and flown, the seed of our love is sown. The enemies they reel, for their hatred is all they feel. They burn, they kill, they maim, as their empires fall in shame. They narrate their darkened tale, but their plots and schemes will fail. The curse they bear is real, held by the holy seal. For the head of our caravan is Sahib al-Zaman. For the head of our caravan is Sahib al-Zaman. The years have passed and flown, the seed of our love is sown. The enemies they reel, for hatred is all they feel. They burn, they kill, they maim, as their empires fall in shame. They narrate their darkened tale, but their plots and schemes will fail. The curse they bear is real, held by the holy seal. For the head of our caravan is Sahib al-Zaman. For the head of our caravan is Sahib al-Zaman. Spirit of Husayn, take us to our graves. Take us as Shahid, take us as your slaves. Spirit of Husayn, take us to our graves. Take us as Shahid, take us as your slaves.
The final item in our program is the Communion of Ashura. This is a contemporary, poetic, interpretive translation of the well-known salutations to Imam Husayn known as Ziyarat Ashura, or the Visitation of Ashura. The Truth Promoters Group, in a world first, has taken the content of Ziyarat Ashura and translated it in a modern, poetic, and most importantly, interpretive manner, both so that it is understandable to the English-speaking audience, but also so that it helps with the understanding of this profound visitation. This segment will be available on Shia Sounds, located at www.shiasounds.com.
Peace be upon you, O Husayn, beloved of the Prophet, lifeblood of his message, bearer of sorrow, breaker of chains. Peace be upon you, O son of the messenger of God, whose footsteps you followed into the fire so we might walk free beneath the sky. Peace be upon you, O son of Ali, Lion of God, fountain of courage. You stood as he stood, firm against a world of betrayal. Peace be upon you, O son of Fatima, light of her eyes, echo of her prayer. Through your grief, the purity of your mother lives on. O Husayn, they gave everything, so we might remember who we are. Peace be upon you, O one whose blood cries out for divine justice. O son of the martyrs whose stand still shakes the heavens. You, the lonely one, unmatched, a solitary star surrounded by a night of betrayal. Peace be upon you and upon the souls who remained beside you, those who encamped in your courtyard, whose bones became the boundary of your shrine. O Husayn, how I long to be among them, to have knelt in your dust, waiting for your command, to have fallen with your name on my lips, to belong to your tent, to never leave your side, not in this world nor the next. Let the peace of God be upon you and them always. As long as I breathe and night and day continue their rhythm, my soul is yours. O Aba Abdullah, your tragedy was not only ours. The skies themselves wept, the stars dimmed, and the angels fell silent in horror. What they did to you, they do still, to every free voice, to every defiant heart that says no to tyranny. They silenced your cry in Karbala and echoed it in Gaza, in Kashmir, in the broken streets of Damascus, and in the gilded rooms of Washington, Tel Aviv, and London, where power matters more than people, where blood is cheap and honor is nothing. And yet, the people sleep. They binge distraction while the earth burns. They scroll through laughter while the children starve. They cheer for tyrants masked as leaders and do not see the caravan of Husayn. Still walking, still bleeding, still calling us to wake. O Husayn, the calamity is great, but our forgetfulness may be even greater. May God distance from His mercy those who built the house of tyranny stone by stone, calling it governance, calling it religion, but laying it on the bones of the oppressed. May He cast far from His mercy those who stripped you, O people of the house, of the stations that were your divine due, and gave them to cowards, frauds, and liars in robes. May He exclude from His mercy those who murdered you with steel, and those who murdered truth with silence. And may He cast away all who make room for tyranny, who excuse it, who fund it, who defend it in panels and parliaments. O Husayn, may He cast away those who smile while others starve, who speak of reform while breaking the backs of the weak, who let the sick die while guarding the wealth of the rich, who kill the unborn in the name of comfort and the elderly in the name of mercy. They are today's court of Yazid, still robed in piety, still drunk on blood. And I want nothing of them. nothing. I wash my hands before God and before you, O Husayn, of them, of their followers, of their allies, of every voice that justified their crimes, every pen that signed their decrees, every tongue that stayed silent while they spilled your blood. O Aba Abdullah, I am with those who are with you. My peace is only for those who loved you, who lived and died by your name. And I am at war with those who stood against you, in every age, in every land, in every disguise. Whether they wore crowns or turbans, held swords or microphones, built palaces or platforms. I am at war with them until the day when all masks fall. My God, cast far from His mercy the house of Ziyarat, a dynasty of cruelty dressed as order, and the house of Marwan, masters of deceit, who poisoned revelation with ambition. May He cast out the Umayyads, all of them, every name, every banner, every doctrine of power that drowned prophecy in politics. May He cast away Ibn Marjan, the bureaucrat of blood, and Umar ibn Sa'd, who traded eternity for a piece of land, and Shim, that beast who laughed at the tears of Zainab. And may He reject those who prepared for this slaughter, those who saddled their beasts, buckled their weapons, and veiled their faces, not in shame, but in resolve. They marched not by force, but by choice. O Husayn, their faces change, but their paths remain. They still ride out today in uniforms, in suits, in think tanks and war rooms, crushing your name wherever it rises. And I stand apart from all of them, and I name them so that their silence will never bury your screams. May my father be your ransom. May my mother be your ransom. O Husayn, what they did to you has broken me. My heart is heavy with your grief. My soul aches with the weight of your absence. And yet, even in my mourning, I am honored. For God lifted me through you. He let me know your name. He made your sorrow my compass. So I beg Him, the one who raised your station in the world and raised my soul through your love, let me rise for you. Let me be among those who avenge your blood, not with blind fury, but under a guided banner, a victorious Imam, a descendant of your house, a voice that carries your cry into the end of time. Let my hand be with His. Let my heart be ready let me be worthy of your justice. O God, make me honored in your sight, not because of who I am, but because I loved Husayn. Let his name be my key, his memory my robe, his cause my shield, his tears my passport to you. Let me walk in this world carrying his light, and let me stand in the next world with his name upon my lips, a name that you love, a soul that you elevated, a martyr whose blood wrote the meaning of honor. By Husayn, make me worthy of your nearness in this fleeting world and in the world that endures. O Aba Abdullah, I seek nearness to God, but not through neutrality, not through slogans, not through prayers that ignore the oppressed. I seek nearness through you, through the Prophet who kissed you, through the father who raised you, through the mother who wept for you, through the brother who stood beside you. I draw close to the divine by loving you, and by disavowing those who drew swords against you, who declared war on your truth, who institutionalized injustice and dressed it in piety. I disown before God and his messengers every hand that laid the first stone of oppression, every architect of injustice, every regime built on your blood. I walk away from all of it, from every path that led to your murder, even if it now wears a new name, a new crown, a new constitution. Your cause is my prayer. Your war is my witness. Your love is my path to God. I renounce them before God and before you, O Husayn. I cut all ties with those who wronged you, and those who walked beside them, and those who came after them and carried their banners. I seek nearness to God through your light, through loyalty to you and your chosen ones, to your friend, your witness, your inheritance. And I distance myself from your enemies, from those who raised armies against you, from those who plotted in back rooms, signed decrees, or stood idly by as your blood flowed. I distance myself from their shadows, from their supporters, from their media machines, from their apologizers and diplomats, from all who softened their crimes or mimicked their structures. O Husayn, to love you means to oppose what killed you, always, everywhere, in every generation. I am with those who are with you, O Husayn. I am with those who are with you, O Husayn. I walk beside the ones who love you, who carry your truth in their hearts, who defend your memory not only in words, but in action. And I am against those who stand against you, no matter their flag, their religion, their language, their disguise. I am your ally, and the ally of those who align with your cause, those who choose dignity over comfort, clarity over compromise, blood over betrayal. And I am an enemy to your enemies, to their rhetoric, to their institutions, to their logic, to their entire way of being. You are the axis, you are the criterion. To love you is to take a side forever. Oh God, you honored me beyond what I deserve. For you let me know Hussein. You let me recognize the friends of Hussein. You opened my eyes to the deceit of his enemies and gave me the strength to walk away from them. So now I beg you, let me be amongst your friends, not just in love, but in cause, not just in belief, but in destiny. Let me live in their path, let me die upon their path, let me rise with them when you raise the dead. Plant my feet among theirs, a footing of truth that does not shake with fear, does not slip in temptation, does not bow before oppressors. Let me be theirs in this life and in the life that never ends. And I ask you, O God, let me reach that radiant place, the honored station that you have reserved for them. Let me be drawn near in their light. Let my name be spoken in the halls of truth, not for who I am, but because I stood for Hussein. And grant me the honor to seek justice, not from anger, but from love. To rise and answer the call, to be among the soldiers of your final proof, a guiding imam from their blood, visible and unafraid, speaking truth in an age of noise. Let me see him, let me serve him, let me die at his side, with the name of Hussein still burning upon my lips. And I ask you, O God, by their right, by the place they hold in your nearness, by the rank you gave them above all others, let my sorrow not be wasted. Let these tears be not mere water, but offerings. Let my broken heart be a prayer, my mourning a ladder. Reward me through this grief with the greatest reward you have ever given to one struck by tragedy. For what greater loss was there? What wound ever bled like this one? What blow shook Islam and the very heavens and the earth as deeply as the slaying of Hussein? This is not just my sadness. It is your grief, O God, reflected in my soul. So let that reflection never fade. O God, here I stand, heart heavy, eyes wet, soul trembling. I am not worthy, but I am here. So in this very moment, in this divine place of mourning, in this sacred remembrance of Husayn, wrap me in your mercy. Let your peace and blessing descend upon me. Let your compassion find me. Let your forgiveness embrace me. Let this moment mark me. Let this grief cleanse me. Let this loyalty exalt me. Let me not leave this remembrance the same as I entered it. Oh God, let my life be like theirs, not in ease, but in meaning. Let me live as Muhammad lived, in mercy, in truth, in struggle for justice. Let me walk the path of his family with clarity, with courage, with compassion. And let my death be like theirs, a testament, a stand, a submission to you alone. Let me not be remembered for comfort, but for conviction. Let me not die in distraction, but in devotion. O God, write me among those who lived and died under the banner of Muhammad and his purified family. O God, this day, the day of mourning, the day of blood upon sand, the day when your prophet's family was butchered. They called it a blessing. The tyrants rejoiced. Bani Umayyah celebrated. Yazid, the son of the liver eater, the one whose heart was dark with vengeance, he danced on the chest of Husayn. He who was excluded from your mercy and whose mother chewed the flesh of the righteous was praised in the courts of power. But you cursed them, O God, and so did your prophet. From every pulpit, in every stance he ever made for truth. This is not politics. This is treason against mercy. And we remember, we name them, we stand apart from their legacy. Then, now, and forever. O God, remove from your mercy the one who plotted, the one who schemed, the one who sealed the deal. Abu Sufyan, the enemy who smiled and waited. Muawiyah, the serpent in the cloak of unity. Yazid, the drunken tyrant who trampled prophecy. Make your distance from them be eternal as their betrayal. May your rejection of them never cease. For this is the day that they rejoiced. The day Ziyarat and Marwan raised their glasses, laughed, while Zaynab wept, boasted of killing Husayn as a victory. O God, they rejoiced in his death. Let them not rejoice in your presence. Multiply their estrangement, amplify their punishment. Let the pain they inflicted return to them, not out of hatred, but out of divine justice. O God, I'm not just remembering history, I'm walking towards you. This day, this stand, this moment of grief is my offering. Through my rejection of their killers, through my disavowal of their empire, through my refusal to forget, I seek your nearness. Let my righteous wrath and supplication that you exclude them from your mercy be a lantern. Let my sorrow be a stairway. Let my refusal to compromise be worship. And through all of this, I reaffirm my loyalty to your Prophet and to the ones he wept for, the family he held closest, the blood he told us never to forget. But my love is not empty. It is not ritual or poetry or song alone. To love them is to follow them, to walk where they walked, to rise where they rose, to stand across generations against the same arrogance, the same injustice, the same godless empires in new disguises. It is to love as they loved, to resist as they resisted, to live as they lived, and to die as they died. This is not just love, it is allegiance, it is a covenant. And in this moment, I renew my vow in word, in soul, and in stance. O God, exclude from your mercy the first tyrant who trampled upon the right of Muhammad's family, the one who planted the seed of betrayal, who saw power and chose it over truth. He opened the gate, and many rushed through after. So exclude the last one who follows his path, every imitator, every modern version, every politician or preacher who builds on that first distortion. O God, exclude from your mercy the clique who rose against Husayn. They weren't just soldiers, they were planners, they were influencers. They wrote articles, gave speeches, signed treaties, justified tyranny. They supported, they pledged, they obeyed, they killed. And that betrayal continues. Even today, there are those who wear black for Husayn, but stand with the very systems that killed him. They claim to mourn him, but their silence defends Yazid. Their fear enables tyranny. Their alliances stab the heart of his son, the awaited one. O God, how many claim to wait for the Mahdi, while crushing every cause he would rise for? So exclude from your mercy all who inherit this legacy, not just in name but in action. Those who held the swords, those who carried the ink, those who watched and said nothing, and those who still do. In robes, in suits, in silence. This is not hatred, This is honesty. This is cleansing the record. This is standing beside Hussein and saying, we have not forgotten and we have not been deceived. Peace be upon you, O Aba Abdullah. Peace be upon your shattered body, your thirsty lips. Peace be upon you, O Aba Abdullah. Peace be upon your shattered body, your thirsty lips, your prostration upon the burning earth. Peace be upon the souls that encamped in your courtyard. Peace be upon the souls that encamped in your courtyard, not for shade or safety, but to die beside truth. From me to you, an unending peace. As long as I breathe, as long as night follows day, my heart is turned towards Karbala. And may God never make this the last time I call your name. Never the last time I whisper your pain or walk the road that leads to your banner. Peace be upon you, O Hussein, and upon Ali your son, the patient, the broken prisoner, the speaking tongue of grief. And peace be upon your children, cut down in their bloom, buried in blood, rising in light. And peace upon your companions, who gave more than words, who gave more than tears, who gave themselves. And in this very breath, as I send peace to you, I pledge my soul to your son, the Qari, on who will rise, of your blood, the Mahdi, the one who will rise to avenge your name. My allegiance is not in slogans, it is in obedience. It is in sacrifice. It is in unwavering loyalty. Until he returns, my allegiance is with his deputy, the righteous leader who guards his path, the Wali al-Faqih, guardian of your legacy, guide of this ummah. I follow what they command, I walk where they lead, I do not waver, for we are the children of the covenant, the ones who said, among the believers are men who have been true to their covenant with God. Some of them have fulfilled their vow, and others still await, but they have never changed in the least. And I say now, O Hussein, count me among them. O God, begin from me the exclusion from your mercy. For the first one who violated the right of Muhammad and his family, let it begin with him and extend to the second and the third and the fourth. Exclude from your mercy Yazid and Ubaidullah ibn Ziyad and Ibn Marjan and Umar ibn Sa'd and Shim, and not just them, but all those who carry their traits, those who betray truth, who serve tyranny, who give sermons that silence resistance, who wear robes while enabling injustice. The house of Abu Sufyan, the house of Ziyad, the house of Marwan are not just of blood, they are of action. And we ask you, O God, to exclude from your mercy every manifestation of that betrayal, past, present, and future, as long as night follows day. And now, O God, we do not ask you for heaven. We do not ask you for palaces or gardens. We do not seek reward. We seek you. We ask only for your pleasure, that you allow us to serve you, to work in your path, to stand for your truth, to live with dignity, to die with loyalty. Count us among those who have been true to their covenant, those who remembered the pledge made before time began and never turned away from it. Among the believers are men who have been true to their covenant with God. Some of them have fulfilled their vow, and others still await. But they have never changed in the least. O God, let us be of them. Let us die with Husayn's name on our tongues, and rise with the Mahdi's banner in our hands.
With the communion of Ashura, we bring our program to a close for this evening. God willing, we will be back tomorrow, same time, same place, with His grace, for our program for the 10th of Muharram, 1447. We pray that He, God, accepts from us, and this has been useful, educational, and beneficial to the viewers. If you found this session useful, then please do subscribe, like the videos, and share with your friends and family and anyone else who you feel might find it useful and educational. Please also visit our website, www.truthpromoters.com, and from there you can find all of our sites and read the write-ups for the Quranic verses, the couplets, the lecture, the eulogy or Maqtal, the lamentations, and of course the main lecture, as well as view the videos and listen to the audios. Peace be upon you, O Prophet of Muhammad. Peace be upon you, O Imam Husayn. Peace be upon the inheritor of Imam Husayn, our beloved Imam Mahdi. May our souls be his ransom. Peace and blessings to you and to all of God's righteous servants.